Hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest, 8-Second Gaming, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the Season 21 Split 2 patch notes. Because they came out and I've had a little bit of time to digest them, think about my thoughts a little bit more, and really understand what Respawn has in mind, so let's break it all down and share that with you today. But just quickly, if you guys are really looking to take your Apex skill to the next level and truly master everything that you can, you need to check out the GameLeap website right now. Over there we have top level coaches creating the best, most highly informative guides to make you the best player you could possibly be. We have legend guides, gun guides, VOD reviews, and much more, so click the link in the description, pick yourself up a membership, and start to improve today. But okay, with that out of the way, let's hop right into things, and I want to start things off really exciting with the weapons and attachment changes. Because with these patch notes, there isn't a lot of things that are changing, but there are some very exciting things that are changing. So the weapons and attachments are one of those exciting changes. And one of the most exciting changes is the G7 Scout. This thing has felt so underpowered for such a long time now. There's really no reason to have run a Scout. We had the 30-30 meta, and right now, if you want to run a long range weapon, the Charged Sentinel is just an absolute menace. Plus, in the marksman rifle department, the triple take just kind of feels like a more consistent option right now. Though with that being said, marksman rifles are not super strong, but these changes to the G7 might actually bring it into the meta. Now starting off, they have increased the damage from 32 to 33. Now 1 damage per bullet doesn't seem like a lot, but a lot of the times it actually can be pretty groundbreaking. A long time ago, the alternator did receive a buff getting 1 damage per bullet, and that actually made it better than the R99 at that given time. So don't scoff at a 1 damage increase. But that's not all they did. They also have increased the fire rate, and they also adjusted recoil to be more consistent when firing at max rate. So not only are you going to be able to fire faster and also deal more damage, but it's going to be more consistent because there's going to be better recoil with it. Now the G7 didn't have a super massive amount of recoil to begin with, and it wasn't really a hard weapon to use. But now it's not really going to be kicking as much. So now I'm assuming it's just going to be an absolute laser beam and you're just going to be able to mow people down. Now I'm a little bit worried that this might be a bit too much for the G7, like the recoil adjustment wasn't necessarily needed in my opinion. And this might make the G7 kind of the same level as with the 30-30 meta, where everyone is going to be running it and you're going to be constantly running against G7s. But until we actually see this in game, I won't know for sure, but I'm a little bit hesitant because there was a lot done to it, so we might see a G7 meta coming in the very near future. Now on the exact opposite scale of not enough done to a weapon, we have the Havoc rifle. Now the Havoc has been running amok this entire season. I'm sure if you've played even slightly, you'll know how devastating a Havoc can be. It's even gotten to the point where in some of my games, are running double Havoc because that's all you need. You don't need another weapon. And it was to the point where and I'm pretty sure multiple other people, were really hoping for a decent Havoc nerf. But all they did was take away 4 bullets per mag on the Havoc. So with no mag, it's going from 24 to 20. White mag, 28 to 24. Blue mag, 32 to 28. And purple mag, 36 to 32. That is it. They are taking 4 bullets away from every mag. That is not even close to being what the Havoc needed. It needed some form of damage reduction, and a little bit more recoil wouldn't hurt it either. Maybe even a little bit more randomness added to the hipfire, because right now the hipfire is just an absolute laser beam. Now, did it need everything that I just mentioned? Absolutely not. That would have been a little bit overkill, but only reducing the mag size is not really going to be that strong of a nerf. The Havoc was already capable of one-clipping somebody without using its entire mag. You would be able to almost one-clip 2 people, depending on the armor situation and a lot of other factors, but you get what I'm saying. So only removing 4 bullets from the Havoc is a little bit underwhelming in my opinion, and I still think that the Havoc is going to be an S tier weapon and just absolutely devastating still. Now another weapon that is getting a change is the longbow. They are increasing the headshot multiplier from 2.15 to 2.25. The longbow is not that strong of a sniper rifle, so this is a nice little buff. I still think that the Sentinel is going to be a much better option though, especially with those charged headshots. The R99 is also getting some reduced hipfire randomness. Again, it is a nice little buff, but I don't think it's going to be putting it in place of a better SMG like the CAR or even a Havoc in close range. The R99 is feeling a little lackluster again, and there's no real reason to be running this over other SMGs or again even a Havoc in close range situations, so maybe a little bit more buffs to the R99 in the future. The Rampage is also getting a little bit of a recoil buff because the firing animation has less vertical movement while ADSing. I don't think this is going to really bring the Rampage into the meta because it just doesn't feel as strong as the other guns, and right now the time to kill has to be a little bit faster than a Rampage has to offer, and if you're not packing like 24 thermite grenades to keep it charged constantly, you are going to be losing a lot of different gunfights, but this is a nice little buff for like the 5 people that still use the Rampage. Now there are a few other weapon changes, but they are very basic ones that you will find in like solos when you pick up a blue or purple Peacekeeper. The optic is now the 1x HCOG instead of the 2x. The charge rifle and sentinel, when you pick those up, those are going to have the 4 to 8x instead of the 2 to 4. However, gun run will still keep the 2 to 4. Also, the 4 to 10x digital threat scope is no longer going to be a digital threat. It will no longer provide vision through gas or smoke because they are trying to just completely take that out of the game. They took the 1x digi threat out of the game completely, and now they're making this so that it won't be able to see through smoke, but it's not really a bad thing because they are taking that away from basically everything, which is what we're going to talk about next. So let's move into the legends. Now starting off, we have a little easy one with Alter, and this is kind of funny because it is basically just a target nerf towards one specific player, and that is Tech, because he was the one that was kind of popularizing this and using it in ALGS stuff. But now Alter, when she uses Void Passage, Crypto EMP will still affect all players phased by Void Passage. Tech was using, for lack of better terms, this technique to get some absolutely insane fights off because you'd pop the Crypto EMP, go through the Void Passage, not take any damage from the EMP, and be able to fight people that are stunned and have less shields. It was a cool little fighting technique to use, but not a lot of people were using it in conjunction with each other, so I don't think that this is really going to be affecting 99.99% of the player base. Now next up, we have a huge one, which is Bangalore. Now with Bangalore smoke launchers, all players within the smoke will now have a white highlight visible to other players that are in the smoke within 20 meters. So playing inside Bangalore smoke is going to be a lot riskier, but it's also going to be a lot more consistent because you're not going to need a Bloodhound in order to fight within the smoke. If a Bangalore smoke's on top of herself, she is going to be a little bit more vulnerable than in the past, because if you contest that smoke, you're going to be able to see them, but again, they're also going to be able to see you. I still think that Bangalore is going to be meta because she is going to be still strong for rotations. She is going to be still good at blocking off lines of sight if you're using her smokes farther away from you, and in endgame situations, cutting off people's line of sight is still going to be strong. They are going to get a little bit of a white highlight, but in those chaotic end circles where there's a bunch of people, sometimes you're not going to be able to see the white smoke, and that can still be a very big benefit for Bangalore players. Now, one character that I do think is going to be falling out of the meta is Bloodhound. Because first off, Beast of the Hunt, the threat vision no longer is going to be able to see through smoke or gas. You're no longer getting that free digi threat on your ultimate. That is a huge nerf to Bloodhound. Now, you are still going to be able to see the highlights when you're not in smoke or gas, so you are going to still have that little bit of a buff there, but it's not going to be nearly as strong as it has been in the past. Being able to see through smoke or gas has always been a huge benefit to Bloodhound's ultimate and has been one of the main things about it. I do think that this is kind of a necessary nerf for the longevity of the game and the health of the game, because being able to see through basically every visual clutter was a little bit of a buff. If you didn't have a Bloodhound or you weren't on Bloodhound, the enemy team would just have such an advantage if they had one. But it does hurt because I have been a very strong supporter of Bloodhound since day one. I have like 12,000 kills on Bloodhound. I used to be a kill grinder on Bloodhound. I love Bloodhound. So it does hurt me deep inside that they are getting this big of a nerf. But the changes to their ultimate weren't the only thing, because they're also receiving some changes to their passive perks. First off, their level 2-1 Raven's Blessing, it is no longer going to give 25% ult charge. It has been reduced down to 20%. This isn't a huge nerf in my opinion. I don't think this is really going to change anything. I think it's still going to be the one that you're going to be picking most of the time, especially when you get to the level 3 perks, which have been completely changed. Now they are no longer going to be giving you 50 HP when you knock somebody or extending the duration of the ultimate. Instead, one of them is going to be reducing the tactical cooldown by 50% while your ultimate is active, and the other one is going to be removing the enemy range requirement for White Raven spawns. For those of you that didn't know, the White Ravens would not spawn if there was a team within 150 meters of you. So that meant towards the end game, Bloodhound would not be getting the White Ravens, and you would not be getting that ult charge back because there was no White Raven spawning, so it was kind of a dead perk once you kind of got towards the end game. Now with this this ability, you are going to be able to get your ultimate a lot more consistently, but you're also not going to get that warning, because if you weren't getting any White Raven spawns, you knew that there was a team relatively close to you. So that is going to be a pretty solid trade-off in my opinion, not having the warning versus having your ultimate up more often. I like that option. And the last two changes for Legends come on Pathfinder and Revenant. Now the down and away for Pathfinder and the Grim Leaper will refresh on knocks and assists within a 3-second window, so it's going to be a lot more consistent, and if you weren't the one to get the knock, you are still going to be able to get that reset and get out. This is a nice quality of life upgrade for these two, though I don't think Revenant needed anything because he was already super strong, but hey, this is good for those Revenant players. Now there are still a lot of other smaller things that are becoming in this split, but I just wanted to cover the main things like the weapons and the legends so that you guys are in the loop for the up and coming meta. But let me know in the comments down below, do you think that they did enough to the weapons or the legends? Do you think that they changed the wrong things? I want to hear your opinion on the Bloodhound and Bangalore nerfs. I think they're interesting. I don't think that Bangalore is going to be out of the meta. I think Seer is going to be coming back to the meta, and we're going to be in one of those things again where it's just going to be constant Seer scans, so I'm a little bit worried about that, but let me know what you guys think. And if you guys want to stay up to date with the latest greatest Apex Legends tips, tricks, and news, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Once again, I'm 8 Second Gaming. I'll see you guys in the next one.